Somewhere in the ocean right now, a submarine crew is living without a single window, without direct sunlight, and in some cases, without even reliable knowledge of what day it is on the surface world above them. Modern ballistic missile submarines can remain submerged for months at a stretch, surfacing rarely if at all, specifically because their strategic purpose depends on remaining hidden and undetected for as long as possible. Crew members live and work entirely inside a sealed metal hull, breathing recycled, artificially generated air under artificial lighting with no natural indication of sunrise, sunset, or season. This is genuinely one of the most sustained, complete sensory isolation environments any group of humans regularly experiences, arguably exceeding even Antarctic winter-over stations in one specific respect. Antarctic crews can at least look outside. Submarine crews, for months, generally cannot. And yet, submarine crews have historically shown remarkably low rates of serious psychological breakdown compared to what the sheer severity of their isolation might predict. Understanding why offers some of the most useful and most surprising lessons in the entire science of extreme environments. Traditional submarine patrols create a specific psychological challenge researchers call time disorientation. With no natural light cycle, submarines historically operated on artificial schedules that did not always match a natural 24-hour day, and some crew members reported genuine difficulty tracking time passage during extended patrols, especially in the era before more sophisticated onboard lighting and scheduling changes were introduced. Modern submarine forces have taken this problem seriously enough to actively redesign around it. Many current submarine crews now operate on strict 18 or 24-hour watch rotations paired with engineered lighting systems that mimic natural daylight cycles, specifically to help stabilize crew circadian rhythms that would otherwise drift, similar to documented sleep disruption in Antarctic and spaceflight crews. Space, too, is severely constrained. Crew members aboard many submarines share sleeping quarters in tight rotation, sometimes referred to informally as hot bunking. One sailor climbs into a bunk just vacated by another finishing their shift, meaning the bed itself is rarely empty. Privacy, in the conventional sense, is often minimal to non-existent for extended periods. Documented research on submarine crew psychology has specifically noted a phenomenon nicknamed channel fever, a documented rise in irritability, restlessness, and anticipation in the final days before a long patrol ends, a submarine-specific cousin of the third-quarter phenomenon we've covered in Antarctic and Mars analog research, but concentrated instead near the very end of a deployment, as the crew's attention turns fully toward an approaching return home. One major reason submarine crews handle this isolation as well as they generally do lies in extensive, deliberate psychological selection and preparation built up over decades of naval experience with exactly this environment. Submarine service is voluntary in most navies, and candidates typically undergo specific psychological screening beyond standard military evaluation, assessing traits including stress tolerance, ability to function in confined spaces, and compatibility with small group, high interdependence living. Crews are also relatively small and highly trained, with strong shared purpose and clearly defined roles. Structural factors research on Antarctic and Mars analog missions has separately identified as protective against isolation's worst psychological effects. Structured daily routine plays a similarly protective role here, as it does in every other isolated environment we've studied on this channel. Submarine life runs on rigid, clearly defined watch schedules, maintenance duties, and drills, meaningful, purposeful activity filling nearly every waking hour, leaving comparatively little unstructured time for rumination or escalating interpersonal friction to take root. Modern submarines have also increasingly incorporated communication improvements, including scheduled, limited family messages during patrols where operational security allows, a meaningful shift from earlier eras when crews might genuinely have no contact with family for the entire duration of a patrol lasting several months. Similar in spirit to the protective effect of scheduled communication documented in Antarctic and Mars simulation research. None of this means submarine service is psychologically effortless. Documented research and naval psychological studies have identified real, specific stress points unique to this environment. The atmosphere itself, while carefully monitored and regulated, differs from surface air in ways some crew members report noticing over extended patrols, including elevated carbon dioxide levels maintained within safety limits, but higher than typical surface air conditions, which some research has associated with subtle effects on alertness and cognitive performance during very long patrols, an area naval researchers continue to actively study. Interpersonal friction, while generally well managed through selection and training, has not been eliminated entirely. Naval historical records and later psychological research document real instances of serious conflict aboard submarines during extended patrols, underscoring that even highly selected, well-trained crews are not immune to the same third-quarter-style friction documented in every other isolated environment covered on this channel. And unlike Antarctic crews or Mars simulation volunteers, submarine crew members frequently cannot discuss the operational details or even the general nature of many missions with family afterward, due to genuine military secrecy requirements, adding a layer of enforced psychological compartmentalization that has no real equivalent in most of the other isolated environments we study. Zoom out across everything we know about submarines, and a now familiar pattern from this channel reasserts itself clearly. Severe environmental isolation on its own does not reliably predict psychological breakdown. What matters most is the surrounding structure, purpose, selection, training, routine, and whatever communication with the outside world remains genuinely possible. Submarine crews face an isolation arguably more complete, in terms of raw sensory deprivation from sunlight and open sky, than nearly any other environment we've covered, including Antarctic stations and even the International Space Station, where at minimum windows exist. And yet, decades of naval psychological research and operational history show crews generally functioning well, precisely because nearly every protective factor researchers have identified elsewhere: meaningful structured work, careful selection, small trained teams, and increasingly real if limited contact with home has been deliberately built into how submarine service actually operates. Somewhere beneath the surface right now, a submarine crew is going about an ordinary working day with no sunrise, no sunset, and possibly no certain knowledge of the current date on land. For most of them, by design and by decades of accumulated institutional experience, that day will be remarkably unremarkable, which may be the single most reassuring finding in the entire science of extreme human isolation. If this story moved you, subscribe to Minds at the Edge. The human mind is full of stories like this one, and we uncover a new one every week.